Ooh, I think I'm gonna make Get Ready With Me. But before I start, for those following my laser resurfacing journey, since I'm not wearing makeup right now, you can see how my face looks like. It obviously fades, but you still can see that I have some reddish spots. It's been 1 month and 3 weeks. So according to my laser tech, 6 weeks would be enough for the next procedure. But as I thought, it's not. It's still there. I think the tendency is that it takes more time for deeper spots to fade away. Also, about my breakouts, I've been previously telling that I've been having breakouts because of vitamin B12 and plant-based milk by itself, or because most of it also contains vitamin B12. My face looks so much better now, but I still have some breakouts, not as bad. Those were the worst for real. I do have lactose intolerance, a genetic one. I did a test. So I know for a fact that milk products are not good for me. But interestingly, when I was in Ukraine, I was still taking some milk products from time to time, plus lactase enzyme. Intolerant people, their body either doesn't produce it or produces it in very small quantities. I'm not sure about that. If you take the enzyme, it helps to digest milk products. And I was doing that in Ukraine, and I just don't remember having anything wrong with my face. I'm still thinking this is something milk related because we've been trying to drink a lactose-free milk, and it's lactose-free because they add the enzyme right to the package. We also tried, and I didn't know that that thing existed, A2 milk. It contains only a specific milk protein, I think. I'm not 100% sure. Once Stas went to Costco and he brought this milk and he was like, we should try that. And I was like, but okay, whatever, let's do that. And you know, I love this milk. I didn't feel any discomfort afterwards. I was in Costco only once, and all the following times he went there, he just didn't find it. So we're drinking lactose-free milk now. Just to be exact, I'm drinking 1 espresso latte in the morning, 1 milk portion. So I still assume whatever is happening to my face is happening because of milk, but I'm not 100% certain at this point. Oh, the squirrel update. The last thing I told you was that our property manager was supposed to show up one day. It was last week, and she didn't. By the end of the day, we were like, hey, maybe we missed you again, because she stated that she just entered our backyard and didn't find the hole previously. And we were like, but we work from home, we didn't see you. Whatever might have happened. By the end of the day, we wrote her, we didn't catch you again. Were you here? And she was like, oh no, last minute contractor didn't show up. But the next day she let us know she'll be here by noon. And she was there with a man, a contractor, I'm not sure. The whole communication process seems so weird that I'm not stating anything, but it just has the weirdest vibe. They came there and just took a photo of that hole, even though Stas already has sent that photo. So we several times asked her, when are you fixing that? 0 response, we have no idea. She just ignores those questions. It was last week, I think, nothing happened. She didn't communicate with us. She provided no updates whatsoever. With this squirrel, sometimes it's okay and we don't wake up. Sometimes she just shows up in the middle of the night and wakes us up. Or in the morning. It's very random, but pretty regular. You know, one of the reasons why I want to have my own place is just not to get into situations like that. Because as Stas said, if it was our property and we had an issue like that, he would have fixed it in a couple of days. You just need a ladder. There are different ways to fill in those holes. And you just have to make sure that the squirrel is not there. So it's not something critical that requires so much money and effort. But because it's a rental and it's exterior, this is not something we can do on ourselves. For minor repairs in the home, he does everything himself. We've never been creating tickets for that kind of stuff, but this is not something we can tackle ourselves. And this is so annoying because it interferes with our sleep and no one gives a slightest shit. I'm just so fed up with rentals and all of that. This is so frustrating in Canada. I hate it. Another big update is that I finally got myself to start tracking calories and macros with a bigger focus on macros. At some point, I do plan to make a standalone weight loss video and my experience in this area, because this has been a struggle for me over the course of my entire life. I feel like the biggest challenge for me at this point of my life is understanding my portion, because I've been chronically overeating for most of my adult life, I think. And I realized that tracking macros would be the most straightforward thing to figure this out once and for all. But I've been procrastinating for various reasons. As someone who has a dieting mentality, because that was a thing when I was growing up, I was tracking calories and that was a miserable experience. I didn't have the most pleasant anchor to the word calorie tracking, but this time it's more about macros, and it's so sobering. That is the right word. It's very sobering. I'm thinking of finally realizing how much food I really need. The first time in my life. And you know, it's not even that difficult. I'm using MyFitnessPal. They do have a paid version, and I decided to start with a free one just to see how it goes. You know, it's a bit of a hassle, but it's fine. It's not that bad. It just takes maybe 5 minutes before each meal to track everything. And I am pretty repetitive in the products I consume. So at some point it gets very fast. The only thing you just have to be careful with, if you're using MyFitnessPal, for instance, as well, they sometimes have this verified products, as I understand, with a green tick. But when you start comparing them with nutritional values of the products you actually have, they might differ. I'm not sure what the reason for this. My assumption is that it's because different markets, probably. I assume that it's more of a US-based app. And I've heard from many people that products in Canada and in the US might differ even if they're the same. You just have to be sometimes careful about double checking that. But also, I'm not too fanatical about it. If some calories differ a little bit, I don't feel like it's going to be that much of a problem. And I plan to keep doing that in the foreseeable future. I'm getting to being done with this mascara. Not a big fan of it. I like it now because it's not much product left. It makes my eyes look too dramatic. I don't like that. At least for a day-to-day setting. Almost done with the concealer. You can see there's not much product left, and I'm so happy that I've already bought a replacement in MAC recently. I'm doing a pretty good job with Project Pen in terms of shampoos and hair stuff. It takes some time because I don't wash my hair every day, usually every 2 to 3 days, so products usually last me very long. But I'm getting to the point when I'm starting to understand what I like, what I need. I think by the end of the year, I'm gonna make really good progress. And the slowest part of Project Pen for me is lipsticks. After the advent calendar, I have so many red lipsticks. I do love a good red lipstick every now and then, but it's definitely not something for every day, at least for me. I'm gonna put a lip primer, but I don't know what I'm gonna wear today. So I'm gonna finish the lips when I get dressed for the day. The first time I got lip primer was after MAC Advent Calendar. And I think this is the product I will be keeping because I love what it does to my lips. But I've just mentioned that I don't have many occasions to wear red lipstick. And I think this is one of them. I have recently started to use the lip brush more often, opposed to just putting product as it is. I don't know if you have an issue like that, but when I do just apply lipstick like that and spread it around the lips, my upper lip doesn't have the natural contours anymore, and it just doesn't look neat, at least with a red lipstick. I started to use a brush, and I think it doesn't look as dramatic as it might, which I also prefer. That's what I'm talking about. They look neat. Shape is preserved. My outfit of the day are these funky summer pants from Bailey Rose. I got these at Simon's. This is a blue Under Armour sports bra. You can barely see it, but I figured let's match some colors. And a Lululemon red jacket. I'm going to a bookstore today. Haven't done this In more than a year. The last time I did it was in Edmonton. Some time ago, I did a video about starting to form a book collection, but I did put it on hold. I do love reading from time to time, but my most favorite part of this process is to actually go to the store and look for a book to turn it into a journey, because obviously you can order almost anything on Amazon, but it is going to the store and losing yourself for an hour or so in this journey is amazing. I've always been loving doing that. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna walk there. It's not super close to where we live, so I'm also gonna do some walking. Walks with a goal are my favorite ones. I'm back from the mall and I did buy a couple of things there, which I'm going to show. But first, let's eat. While I was away, Stas made a very delicious lunch. He's in charge of lunches in our family. He does make the most delicious food ever. I'm going to track everything I'm going to eat. Oh. The most difficult part for me is that most things you have in the tracking app, their values are in raw form. And most of the time, since I'm not in charge of lunches, I'm not measuring that. So what I'm doing is that I'm checking the ready weight and Googling the coefficient of the change, raw versus cooked. It's not as precise as it might be, but I think I'm doing a good job not obsessing over the precision here too much, because it still works. I can tell. And of course, an after lunch dessert. Life just feels so much better after a good meal. Another obvious advantage of calorie tracking is that it also tells you how much vitamins you get. I don't think it counts all of them, but it does some. And I wasn't pleasantly surprised that I'm not getting enough of several of them, especially when I'm such an avid supplements person. For instance, I'm doing an amazing job with vitamin C, though there was only one time when I got enough calcium, and that was when I ate products that contain milk several times a day. And I usually don't because of my lactose intolerance. Iron, well, I suspected that I'm not getting enough of that. And vitamin A, I was so surprised that vitamin A is the worst in terms of intake. At some point, I want to order all of them. I know that iron is a bit tricky to take because it doesn't get absorbed with some products. So when I get to the point, I'll take it into account. Now the haul. Bookstore turned out to be a really small one. I didn't find almost any of the books I wanted to buy there. There is a huge list I have, and I think I have spent there an hour. And if it was a bigger store, I would have easily spent there 2 hours. I just get lost in the process. Books I got there. The first one is The Art of War, and also The Emperor's Handbook. We'll still be ordering some of the books online. And I also got another thing in the store. Didn't plan for it, but it still happened. It's a new pair of glasses. These are Ray-Bans. What do you think? For some reason, I've been recently obsessed with pink color. If you watch my recent vlogs, there's a strong pink theme there. And in terms of glasses, since we moved to Alberta, glasses are a must here. In winter, in summer, it's very bright here. So this is an accessory I'm actively wearing throughout the year, and I started to collect glasses. I love these not only because they're pink, but also because they're very light. And because of the shape of my nose, I do get marks from glasses all the time. So something tells me it's gonna be one of my favorite pairs in the foreseeable future. That's pretty much it. I'm just gonna chill for the rest of Sunday. I'll probably start reading one of the books I got and get ready for the new week. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you'd like to. Bye.